And we are live.
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. Happy Friday. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, your other host.
And today we have the Okee Dokee Brothers joining us. Yay!
Yay!
Joe and Justin.
Thanks for having us. This is awesome. Feels
We're
good
so-
to be with people.
Oh,
So
it
good to
feels
see you
great.
guys.
And we are so excited to have you here. We're having this is our musical happy hour every week, and today it's a family-friendly edition, and folks are joining us from all over. Popcorn, nice.
All right,
Jackson. Hi, Jackson. And Chris from Savage. Yeah, it's a beautiful day today in the Twin Cities. Alan is, of course, joining us with his usual gin and tonic, but I have a special beverage today. Look at how fancy this is.
Whoa.
It doesn't even fit on the screen. It's so big. It's an ice cream soda with
my gosh.
with
Is
a
that Kermit?
Kermit the Frog is another wonderful banjo player is on the straw. So I have a very festive drink today.
Well,
I
I
love
went
it.
and pilfered my children's snack cupboard, and I just grabbed the Capri Sun, and look what happened. Right before we went on live. I know all of you out there can feel my pain. This is going to be a real mess with all this computer stuff up here. How about you guys? Joe, I saw you had a fancy something or other.
Yeah, it's first time having this. I got it just for the occasion. Watermelon sparkling water.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin?
I got my coconut water, which
All right.
is non-GMO verified.
Excellent.
Nice.
And for those of you who are new to the show, the Back Catalog Listening Party is our weekly get together where we listen to music with our friends and just reconnect at the end of a week. And this is something that we started 50 weeks ago now. We're on episode 50, and I can't think of a better guest to have to celebrate the big 5-0 than our friends, the Okee Dokee Brothers. So for those of you out there who are maybe new to the Okee Dokee Brothers music, Joe, would you like to give a brief bio of the band and where the album we're going to listen to fits into that timeline?
Sure. So we're a folk band that plays music for all ages. Some people say we're kids' music, but we say family music, right? And Justin and I, we met when we were 3 years old. So we've known each other a long time. That's why we call each other brothers. Started making music in high school and college, played all sorts of different types of music, but shifted into family music when we were, camping and remembering our childhood adventures. So that's what we started doing, is writing adventure albums. And today we're going to be listening to our first adventure album when we came up with the idea to take a canoe trip down the Mississippi River from St. Paul to St. Louis and write songs as we went down the river. So yeah, that's kind of this is to put it in the context of the history of the Okee Dokees. I think it's probably our third album, but those earlier albums we don't really even sell anymore. And this is our first adventure album, and then from there we did some other stuff and kept making records, probably, 5 records after that. So Justin, did I leave anything out?
No, I'm sure we'll get to all the other stuff.
Well, and maybe you guys could give some context for those who are new to this idea of an adventure album. It's not just thinking about camping and canoeing and writing about it. It's like getting in the dirt, getting in the water, right? You guys
Right.
actually kind of wrote this in Nature's studio. Is that right?
Yeah, we were kind of thinking we shouldn't write songs about nature if we are in our basements. So we decided to actually get out there and do something adventurous. And so one day we were taking a little road trip down the river road down the Mississippi, and we were like, oh man, we got to get out there on a canoe and write some songs about it. And that river is just so inspiring. There's so much metaphor to the whole thing. So that's what we did. And that's what this album was. And it was well received in the children's music genre. A lot of people heard it. And then this one got nominated for a Grammy. This was our first Grammy nomination.
Not just nominated.
You won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won, yeah.
which is awesome. It was such a big deal. We were all so proud, and I have to say I have a personal connection with this record because my first daughter was born the year you guys released this album, and it was it's always been very special. And for those of you who are out there just waiting, chomping at the bit to hear some of this music, why don't we get right into it? Normally on this show we have just audio playing, and we put the album cover up, and we might do that for one of the songs. But these guys, not only did they write while they were on their trip, but they filmed themselves while they're on the trip, and then put together music videos of the songs while they were doing it. That's just genius, and it really kind of puts it all into context. So I think the first track is the perfect one to start with here. Can You Canoe? Do you want to talk about that at all? Anything you want to say about it before we watch?
I don't know. Pretty self-explanatory. You know, this is the title track, so it asks the question, "Can you canoe?" It's an introduction. It's an invitation to make sure that everybody's invited, and so yeah, you'll just see us kind of pulling some shenanigans out there. 10 years ago, crazy. So we look a little younger probably in this video than we do now, especially after this year, which makes us look about 5 years older than we are.
So for all of you out listening, just listening right now, we're going to show the video, but you can come back and watch it later on our YouTube channel. And those of you with questions and comments, you think about those, throw those in the chat during the while we're watching this video. Feel free to say hello and ask your questions for Joe and Justin. And now we're going to take a listen to Can You Canoe from the Okee Dokee Brothers on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
We don't need a motor, we don't need a sail, and we don't need no fins or gills, and we don't need a tail. Let's just keep it simple, we'll each get an oar, paddle out to no man's lake and float till we can't no more. Can you canoe on a little boat built for two? Can you canoe? I'll be your captain and your crew. Can you canoe if there's nothing better to do? I wanna float down a river with you. We don't need no outlets, we don't need no wires. Primetime entertainment will be lightning, bugs, and fires. Let's just keep it simple, unplugged and outside. Sound waves on the water don't need to be amplified. Can you canoe on a little boat built for two? Can you canoe? I'll be your captain and your crew. Can you canoe if there's nothing better to do? I wanna float down a river with you. I'll take the bow, brother, you can take the stern. I'll move us forward and you choose when to turn. Let's just keep it simple, we all need a friend in this current moment, instead of looking around the bend. Can you canoe on a little boat built for two? Can you canoe? I'll be your captain and your crew. Can you canoe if there's nothing better to do? I wanna float down a river with you. I wanna float down a river with you. I wanna float down a river with you.
All right, the Okee Dokee Brothers here on the back catalog listening party with the title track to their 2012 release, "Can You Canoe?" And folks are listening from all over the place: Ohio, the Ozarks, New York, Minnesota, Texas, and Chicago. And it's so great to see you all. And thank you for commenting. Feel free to throw questions in the comments. We have a couple that we're going to get to. But I did want to ask, since you asked the question, "Can you canoe?" I want to know, before you set out on this adventure, did you guys know how to canoe, or did you have to sort of learn along your way? I grew up doing a ton of canoeing in my family, but I was just curious if there was a bit of a learning curve when you set out to do this.
Yeah, well, being from Colorado, Justin and I both grew up in Denver. There's not a huge canoeing culture in Colorado. Maybe there's somewhere, but not where we were from. And so it was a thing. When we moved out to Minnesota, we had to learn how to do all those crazy, J strokes and C strokes and all that. We didn't know any of that. But, for a couple of years before we went on this trip, we did a bunch of canoe trips and learned enough. But I'll say, on this trip down the river, paddling for 30 days, you get to be a much better canoeer after all that. You just feel like it's part of your body, you're one with the boat.
I bet.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, actually, we just got a question. Let's see. Michael said, Earl wants to know if either of you got poison ivy on your trip.
I didn't. Did you? We saw a lot of poison ivy. We were camping right around it, and we knew how to identify it. So I think we were safe. I don't know, Joe. Or did you?
I didn't get any poison ivy, and I don't remember if you did, but I do think we ran into our fair share of ticks, actually, on the river. We had one time where we ended up in a ditch looking for something and came out of there with like 20 ticks on us.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think one of them hung around Justin for a little too long.
Yeah. In my chest hair.
We also got a question from Tyler saying, what's your favorite song that you've ever written?
Whew. That's a tough one. My favorite song that I've ever written, maybe it was "Can You Canoe?" because that's what I'm thinking of. No, yeah, I don't know. That one has been good to us. It's kind of like one of our hits, and maybe it's not my favorite at the moment because that always is changing, but it's been good to us. So
usually the favorite is the one you just wrote, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
feel
not
like
even out yet, probably.
Right. I feel like that's how Prince used to answer that question, like the newest thing he had been working on. I would say, though, for me, I really, for some reason, I'm drawn to the song Bullfrog Opera on this album that we might listen to later. Not so much the fact that, we wrote it or whatever, but I really like the recording of it. And I like the trombone, and it reminds me of a time in the studio that was pretty special. So that's one way to answer it.
Speaking of the studio, something we'd like to ask a lot of to our guests is a little bit about the recording. Where was it recorded? Who recorded it? Any kind of fun adventures that may have happened in the studio?
Yeah, definitely. So this was our first album that we recorded with our buddy who's produced all of our albums since. His name is Dean Jones, and he's in the kids' music world. He's a producer, does a lot of different music, and he has just this hay bale walled studio in Rosendale, New York, which is just up in the Catskills, and it's just a one-room studio, super simple, and the bathroom's right outside there. It's and I think
we actually have a picture here.
Oh, right. The bathroom's actually integrated into the studio.
Yeah, when you said one room, don't forget the isolation booth is an outhouse.
All right, guys. This is a picture you don't see every day. Did this make the album insert? I don't know.
Oh, I wish. But this is where we go if we have to kind of isolate sometimes. One musician.
Is that what they call it now?
When we have to isolate.
The good thing is we can both play at the same time on this one.
Yeah, it's a two-seater.
Okay, it's a family show. I'm going to leave it at that. That is fantastic, you guys. And what was the acoustics like in that room? It looks like a lot of wood. You got probably actually have some good natural reverb.
It's a fancy outhouse, I will say.
It does the job. Let's just say that. No, it's a good place out there. It gets a little cold in the winter, but the other part of the studio is just like Justin said, a one room. And the reason why we love recording with Dean out there is he has a lot of fun. He keeps us humble, you know, the old outhouse. And we record a lot of things all at the same time, all at once, like a big party. So we'll invite studio musicians over who live in the town that Dean's friends with. And instead of kind of doing track by track vocals and instruments, sometimes we do that, but most of the time we just try to capture a big party and a good old time. We raise a ruckus. And I did want to mention Tony quick. Tony is on our latest record, picking the banjo, doing the 3-finger fast picking on Raise a Ruckus. So that made me think of that. And I just wanted to let fans know that we appreciated that.
It was an honor to be a part of it, and just hear I hopefully next time I'll be able to come to a studio wherever that might be, because with rooms with isolation booths like that, I could seriously raise a ruckus. Thanks, guys.
Well, speaking of that isolation booth, I just wanted to point out. Let's see, one of our regular listeners, Matt Winters from Urbana, Illinois, says that's where the songs get written. It's true. I mean, you guys actually write in more beautiful places like on the Mississippi River, but it is true. Many people find inspiration there. We got a great question from Jennifer. Let's see if I can find it. I
found it.
You found it. How did you film the paddling on the river? Why did Joe do a backflip out of the canoe?
Well, we didn't actually do the filming. We had our friends with us. So we had one other friend, Alex Johnson, who was a videographer, and he did all the video. And then we had another friend, Brian, who did some audio for us and was our river guide. So they helped us out. And as for kind of flipping off the back of the canoe, you know, when you've been paddling all day in the hot sunshine, you get really sweaty and hot, and you need to cool down. So we decided to just kind of flip off and cool off. This was north of the Twin Cities. So our trip's a little confusing. We did start in the headwaters, the boundary waters at Lake Itasca. And up there, the water's really clean and nice. And so we splashed around up there. As you got closer to St. Louis, I think we probably did a little less swimming.
Yeah.
Probably wise.
Well, and I should ask, what time of year did you start this trip? Like, how many months did it take you, or how long did it take you to do this trip? And I saw some winter wear on some of these, shots that we're going to see later. So I'm just curious.
Oh yeah. Well, so it was June, and it was 2011. So almost exactly 10 years ago now. It was high waters, and I think the winter wear was just a cold, rainy day, and that happened maybe 2 days out of our whole trip. We got really lucky.
And we were out there 30 days. So
right.
we, like we said, we only did kind of that first upper part of the river, not even the Itasca to the Twin Cities. We did a couple days near Itasca, and then we came down to the Twin Cities and went to St. Louis from there, and didn't go all the way to the Gulf of Mexico because we had gigs booked and all that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to get through as many of these tunes as possible. I know some folks out there would love to see some more of this footage. The next tune we have queued up here is one of my personal favorites, one of the favorites in my house, which is Holloway Joe, and that became your nickname because we got to know you and be like, hey, is that Holloway Joe coming over? Pick up that banjo. Anything you want to talk about this track? Anything?
Yeah. Well, it's a sea shanty, and as some of you may know, sea shanties are getting really popular again these days. But this was an old minor tune, not like minor, but like
not coal miner,
not coal miner, but minor in music tune, and we turned it into something a little more upbeat and fun and major sounding. So,
all right,
yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's give it a listen. This is the Okee Dokee Brothers, Holloway Joe, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
and a muddy old hog and Mary Susiana. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. My mother told me long ago she wished I'd be a lawyer. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Much to her chagrin, I don't have an employer. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we're bound for better weather. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Holloway Joe, me boys, meeting on up with the old St. Croix. Keep a rowing, me boys, it's a rafting's life for me. Holloway Joe, me boys, floating on down to Illinois. Keep a rowing, me boys, it's a rafting's life for me. Toy cars and candy bars are just a waste of money. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Cornbread is all you need with butter beans and honey. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Sing a song and get along way down to Sarasota. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Then hop a barge up through the arch and back to Minnesota. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Way Holloway, we're bound for better weather. Way Holloway, will Holloway Joe. Holloway Joe, me boys, meeting on up with the old St. Croix. Keep a rowing, me boys, it's a rafting's life for me. Holloway Joe, me boys, floating on down to Illinois. Keep a rowing, me boys, it's a rafting's life for me. Keep a rowing, me boys, it's a rafting's life for me.
All right.
Yeah.
Holloway Joe from the Okee Dokee Brothers from their album Can You Canoe, which we are revisiting today on the back catalog listening party. If you're new to the show, this is where we invite different musicians on the show to talk about old records. And today we're so excited to have the Okee Dokee Brothers to talk about this album, which everyone is loving and continues to love. I know a lot of kids were kind of raised on it, Tony's kids, and my kiddo's just getting into music now. So he's hearing these songs, but he doesn't necessarily, he just pushes the button and wants to hear it over and over again.
Speaking of family, I want to do a little shout out to my cousin Katie, who's here, and Miles, if you're listening. So great to have you guys here. That's why one of the reasons we do this is to be together. So thank you guys for being here.
For sure, and to answer your questions. So we have a ton of great questions coming in, and so we're going to get to as many of them as we can. And we had one from Laura asking, "What's the longest hike you've ever taken?"
Yeah, well, it would have to be that Appalachian Trail hike for me, at least. I don't know about Justin, but we went out to the Virginia Highlands and hiked for, I think it was 28 days, almost a month, through the Appalachian Mountains on the AT. And, we did our second adventure album right after Can You Canoe. It's called Through the Woods. We wrote songs and made videos and learned about old time music. So hopefully that answered that question.
We learned about hiking too. We had to carry a 40-pound backpack along with some instruments. We had to have our instruments along with us. That just added more weight, and that was sort of fun.
Yeah, the canoe is a nice trip because you could bring a bunch of stuff and just load it up in the boat. Hiking was a little different. You had to carry it.
Yeah.
We also had a question from Melissa. We want to know where the great-grandmother tree is. Apparently, they look for it on all their hikes.
So you know.
Yeah, well, the great-grandmother tree can be anywhere you want it to be. We've had a few in our family. We actually have one in our neighborhood near the Minnehaha Creek that we call the great-grandmother tree that has fallen over and looked like it died there for a while, but there's some new life sprouting from it, and kids in the neighborhood play on it. So we like the idea of an old tree coming back to life. But if you ever find a down tree in the forest that looks like, it was an old wise tree that has life still in it, you can call it a grandmother tree.
Ah,
very cool.
excellent. Wonderful. And speaking of new life, it seems like we had a slight glitch for a little bit with the stream. But it sounds like we're back. So hello,
Yeah, and-
everybody.
hello,
and this,
everybody.
and this
Yeah.
will be available on the replay. So we'll have it up on our website and stuff. So if for some reason any part
Sounds like maybe
It's a hiccup.
YouTube's algorithms weren't happy with the video playing is one of my thoughts. So if that happens next time, maybe we can just play the song. We'll play it as we go here and keep taking your questions though.
Yeah, for sure. And again, this will be available on the replay. So if for some reason you wanted to hear those little bits you might have missed, then we can get to that. But thank you all for tuning in today. This is so much fun to hear the ins and outs of this canoe adventure. And someone actually asked, Tyler asked, what's your next adventure going to be?
Take it away,
Great
Justin.
adventure.
Well, I think we're done with adventure albums, actually, to be honest. We did 3, and that was our trilogy. And then we went and did a winter album, and that was a half adventure. We did some dog sledding and all kinds of stuff in the winter there in northern Minnesota. And then we made a song all about singing, an album all about singing. So I'm not sure where we're up to next, but
Dancing, perhaps?
yeah, it's an album all about dancing.
Every album's about dancing.
Yeah. That's a great question. And let's see here. I saw another interesting question about. I don't know where it went, but it was just asking if you had anything on the books for the summer.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We do have some tentative dates that I guess I think we'll be in St. Paul at the Ordway in June, possibly.
Ooh, all right.
And all of this is kind of up in the air, but I forget which ones are like actually confirmed. But the point is, there's hope, right, that we might be playing this summer, and it'll be a lot of course, outdoor shows and distanced and probably masked and just kind of like safe shows, but we'll love to be back out at it. And I think more of those details will be on our website calendar in the next, few weeks when these things start confirming. But I do notice a flurry of emails coming in about bookings. So that's a good thing, because it's been pretty quiet for the last year.
And there's a big one. I'm pretty sure this is definitely going to happen. We're going to play the State Fair at the grandstand this year.
Oh, nice.
If the State Fair happens, but
Right.
yeah. We'll be there if the State Fair happens.
Well, speaking about unemployed musicians, all of us have been on the sidelines for this year, and normally one of the things we like to do on this show is pass a tip jar around, and somebody actually asked about that. But we talked to the fellas before.
An important question, Becky.
It
Thank
is
you
a
for
very,
that.
very important question. But we talked to the guys ahead of time, and they thought, the best tip for them would be to share more of their music. And so they want to encourage you guys, if you wanted a tip, if you wanted to put a little something in their jar, get that next album going, then you should go to their website, and you can grab a CD, DVD combo of this record, right? And there's a picture book. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about some of the offerings you have there that people could do to kind of say thank you?
Yeah, so a couple picture books and whatnot, and some merch, whatever. We were just saying, the best thing for us is for you, and you don't even have to, buy anything. You can if you want, but the idea is just to share the music and the idea of what we're all about to your friends, and that does so much for us. Just keeping the idea out there. Oh, nice, Tony. You got the Can You Canoe book.
I sure do. And folks, this is what you want. The music is great, but now you got lyrics, so you guys can sit around your own campfires and sing these songs too. So, great question, Becky. If you guys do want to help out for the next Okee Dokee record, why don't you head over to their website, okeedokee.org, and pick up some music. They also have some great T-shirts and other merchandise.
Yes, for sure. And let's try and dive into some music and see how many of these songs we can fit in on today's special edition of the Back Catalog Listening Party. Our next tune is Bullfrog Opera, and which one of you mentioned earlier, so as one of your favorite songs. So is there anything else you want to say about this before we take a listen?
Oh, I just like the trombone on this song.
Trombone's
wrong
always
with that.
good.
And I think there's tuba on this song too. So those are fun instruments, and a
can't go
nice
wrong.
little piano.
Well, and we talked about maybe the video tripping YouTube's algorithms. We didn't have a video for this one, so when we were talking before the show, we thought, what a great exercise for all of you out there listening to maybe listen to this song and imagine what the video might look like. Maybe even draw a picture of it and email it to the Okee Dokee Brothers. I'm sure they would love to see that. But I think sometimes you can imagine yourself on that river a little better when there's no visual. So we're gonna just put up the album cover and we're gonna play this song.
Oh. or that.
That should have been our album cover.
That was absolutely not intentional, but hilarious. So let's try that again. That was me looking for the album art, which seems to have disappeared here. So we'll just play the song. I'll throw the album art when we can, and maybe I'll just put that up there.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. All right. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Bullfrog Opera from the Okee Dokee Brothers on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
We're sleeping out in the forest again, far from the cities and the streets. But if we close our eyes and we improvise, we can make it to New York in our dreams. The moon becomes a street lamp in Central Park, and the river is a train Brooklyn bound. The stars turn into pearls on high-heeled girls getting ready for a night on the town. Let's take 'em to the Bullfrog Opera and the Raccoons Masquerade Ball. We've got Broadway tickets to see a chorus line of crickets, and the loons are playing Carnegie Hall. Our tent starts looking like the Plaza Hotel. Tonight we'll sleep like we're rich. The trees grow to equate the size of the Empire State, and the trail becomes the Triborough Bridge. We're sitting front row at Nature Symphony Show with the winds, the reeds, and the strings. We wait for the piano to cue the soprano, 'cause it's not over till the fat lady sings. She's singing in the Bullfrog Opera and the Raccoons Masquerade Ball. We've got Broadway tickets to see a chorus line of crickets, and the loons are playing Carnegie Hall. We're singing in the Bullfrog Opera and the Raccoons Masquerade Ball. We've got Broadway tickets to see a chorus line of crickets, and the loons are playing Carnegie Hall.
All right, the Okee Dokee Brothers here on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Bullfrog Opera from their album Can You Canoe, and we heard some crickets at the end of that, and of course a lot of animal critters mentioned in that, and of course Minnesota state bird, the loon. I want to know what your what the craziest wildlife you saw, or the thing that amazed you the most on your trip.
Yeah, go for it, Justin.
One thing I remember really well is bald eagles. We started seeing them way up north, and we just started counting them. It was just like, well, there's so many, we were like, is that 35 or 38 that we're on? You know, it was pretty cool to see that many bald eagles.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I remember an island we called Pelican Island, and there's some footage of that on the DVD, which somebody was asking where they can see all the videos, and they're on our YouTube page if you're looking around. But anyway, Pelican Island was just full of hundreds and hundreds of, was it pelicans, Justin? It was pelicans, right? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's why we called it Pelican Island.
Okay. No, I was just like, wait, does this make sense? It's so long ago. But yep, tons of birds. So that was pretty cool.
Most of the birds. Saw some beavers, a little bit, some beavers, not too many.
Nice.
Now, did you get hassled at all by like anybody for where you were camping, that kind of stuff? When I watched that video, my first thought was park rangers and other people. Was there any kind of little misadventures of the Okee Dokee Brothers that didn't make the DVD?
Well, there definitely was something that happened. I do remember one morning that we got kicked out of a park, but the crazy story was we ran into some real weather on our 28th night. We were on an island. Justin, do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, sure. We were camping in the middle of the river on an island that was a little bit shallow, not very high off the river, and a big storm came in that was considered an F0 tornado, which is kind of a smallish tornado, but still we were in the middle of the river. Yeah. And it was lightning and thundering, and we were in our tents, and the water started rising up the little island, and it got a little intense, a little scary. And Alex, who was the videographer, he had all of his videography stuff in his tent, hard drives and a computer and all this stuff. And he was the first one for the water to rise up to him.
Oh dear.
And so we had this Joe heroically, I was holding down my tent, and Joe heroically ran over to help Alex and get the hard drives. He was like, let's get the hard drives, Alex. Yeah, we'll get you next.
Oh,
Wow.
wonderful.
I think the tent actually kind of like blew into the water.
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
how much. It seemed like the river levels were coming up, but I don't know what exactly happened. But our tents were blowing all over the place, and we actually had to have a boat come out from a local like fire department and take us in to town that night because it just wasn't safe to be out there. So the moral of the story is Mother Nature is powerful.
Yep.
And we must respect her and be prepared, right? Just like the scouts say.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And we got a question from Avery, 5 years old, wants to know why you started playing music together.
Yeah.
Well, we both started. Well, Joe started a little earlier, but Joe handed me a guitar after he had learned a little bit of guitar, and he said, "You should learn this, and then we could play together." And once we could play a few chords, we realized that both of us could sing pretty well, like at least a little bit on tune, and that was helpful. And so we started writing songs together, and never stopped.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And, Chris, one of our regular listeners, said, how did you get classified as a kids band? I'm no kid and love the songs. And I think you were saying this earlier, you call yourselves a band for all ages, not just kids. And as a parent of a little one now, and both with books and music, I've found that as a parent, the stuff that we like the best are the things that both the kids and the parents like are the most successful, not just something made for kids per se.
Right. You got it. Yeah. We started playing, we played at bars and stuff like that in college and after college, and that was fine. But when we started playing park concerts and libraries and kind of community events, we just noticed how fun it was and how we could get the audience engaged. And our songwriting kind of lent itself to a more family friendly and just like honest expression of who Justin and I are, which are just kind of, pretty easygoing, fun guys that just wanted to write about the outdoors anyway. And we had a shared childhood. So we just started writing about that type of thing, and also keeping the parents in mind too. So it's a little niche or niche, whatever they say, for us. And it's been good for us. So I guess that's how we ended up in it. And we like kids and family. So we're sticking here, and probably not coming out with an adult record anytime soon, but maybe.
well, someone did ask when can be the next record. You think maybe?
Oh, the next record.
Yeah.
Justin, do we know?
Yeah, we don't really know yet. We're just writing some songs right now, and we did just come out with an album last May. I guess that's been a while now already, but
it just feels like 5 years. This past year's felt like 5 years.
Right, but it also somehow doesn't count, so you can just re-release that now and say it's brand new.
Yeah, we've been writing a lot of songs during quarantine and this last year, going all over the place, writing all sorts of different ideas, and we're seeing what sticks. So something will come out of it, and keep your eyes out, keep your ears out. Probably in the next couple of years, who knows?
Wonderful. Well, for now, you have so much great music to share, and we really are enjoying revisiting this album, Can You Canoe, which is a favorite of so many. And some folks, of course, listening to the back catalog today are hearing it for the first time. So we want to get to more songs from it. The next song we've queued up is Thousand Star Hotel, and I think we might just listen to the audio version just so we don't have any technical glitches this time. Is there anything you want to say about the song before we dig in?
No.
Yeah, this is another good one for your imagination. It's we've all been out there on starry nights, and that's kind of the imagery in the middle of the song, or the sounds we make are trying to evoke the emotions that go with looking up at a starry sky. And we even wrote a little book about this song called The Thousand Star Hotel, about two river rats. So if you're interested in a picture book, check that one out. But yeah, let's just listen to the song, since I think, copyright stuff was throwing us off before. So
all right,
here we go.
Thousand Star Hotel from the Okee Dokee Brothers on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I'm sleeping in a 1,000-star hotel. I'm sleeping in a 1,000-star hotel. Gold leaf pillow for my head, feel like a king on a king-size riverbed. I'm sleeping in a 1,000-star hotel. In a 1,000-star hotel. I'm sleeping in a 1,000-star hotel. Gold leaf pillow for my head, feel like a king on a king-size riverbed. I'm sleeping in a 1,000-star hotel.
All right, the Okee Dokee Brothers here on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Thousand Star Hotel from their album Can You Canoe. And we had a bunch of questions come in. We're going to get to as many of them as we can. Let's see. We got one from James. Ruby wants to know, how many songs have you written together?
We don't really count those, do we, Justin? Oh, you're muted.
I don't have a list anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, might be a couple hundred or so, somewhere in there. I remember the first song we wrote together. We were in the Rocky Mountains, growing up together. We were teenagers, and because we were in the mountains, the song was called "In the Mountains."
Nice. That actually brings up it's just something that I kind of wanted to ask for all the aspiring songwriters out there. Do you have any advice for kids out there who might want to put pen to paper or start strumming that ukulele or guitar for the first time? And what would you tell those kids who want to maybe write their first song?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said there, ukulele is a really good place to start. I've got mine right here, hanging right here. I think Joe's got one there too. It's just the simple instrument to be able to pick up and learn exactly how to put your fingers down on a stringed instrument, and that's where Joe and I started. And it once you can play a couple chords, then you can sing the songs that you've heard before. So we have always started. I mean, that's partly why we're folk musicians, is that we started with the folk songs that we loved, and just kept playing folk songs. And yeah, so that's how you write them too.
That's great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'll just jump on that, because what we do is we take old folk songs and kind of rewrite them. So if you have any of your favorite songs, even an Okee Dokee song, you have our permission to rewrite it and make the words your own. Because that's a great way to start writing songs, is just take one that exists and change it up.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And actually, Laura had a question about songwriting. Has having a family of your own changed your writing style or process?
Yeah, so I had a kid 4 years ago, Hap. He's been such a joy to have around. Obviously, you guys know that. Kids are amazing and super creative and funny. Yeah, it definitely has changed the process for me. Changed everything, for better or worse. Hanging in there. No, for better. It's just like, I guess right now when I'm writing songs, like, and he's around, he'll throw out crazy ideas too, and I try to incorporate some of them. If anything, I guess it's just made my music or songwriting a little looser. It's just like life flows, it comes and goes, it rolls through the holes in the bottom of your clothes or something. Just like, let it go.
There you go. Your next hit right there. Speaking of family inspiration, it looks like my daughter downstairs, who's a big fan, would love to know what your favorite instruments are.
Well, I wanted to answer, because we are 3 banjo players ganging up on a guitar player.
That's right.
When does this ever happen, where 3 banjo players among 1 guitar player? Usually it's like 18 guitar players and maybe 1 banjo player.
That's right. We've got him cornered, literally cornered here.
I'm sorry, I have to start tuning. Just a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true. That's super exciting. So banjo would be
banjo.
one of those. That was a great
That's
answer.
my answer.
That's the correct answer, by the way.
I said it earlier. My favorite instrument is trombone.
Nice.
Very
That's
nice.
a cool instrument.
Well, speaking of instruments, we got a question from Madeline, age 4.5, wants to know what instruments you used in Holloway Joe.
There's a good story actually to that one. I was listening to it while we threw up that video, but maybe some of you didn't get to hear it. But there's an accordion on that song, and we actually had Garth Hudson from the band. Do you guys know the band?
Oh, wow.
Like
Wow.
The band.
The band.
It's not just any band.
Yeah, so Garth
The
Hudson,
band.
he's the organ player. And, right. They played behind Bob Dylan for a while, and
Yeah.
if you don't know the band, you could check out The Last Waltz. That's a good documentary. And anyway, they play with a bunch of cool people. And Garth Hudson he lives up near where we record. So we called him up, and he said, "Okay, I'll come over, but as long as you have a sticky bun for me." So we got a sticky bun for him, and he played the accordion on that song.
That was
I
his
love
his prerequisite was the sticky bun. That's
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
I love that. Well, speaking of instruments, I don't know how many instruments you brought on your canoe trip, whether it was just the guitar and banjo, but I want to know if there were any mishaps. Did any end up in the water on your canoe trip?
Not. We actually did not capsize at all, which was super lucky. I think our boats were really sturdy somehow, and we didn't even really know how or why. But no capsizing, except one time. I guess we flipped it over for purpose, on purpose, for the video. I mean, in that storm that we were talking about, they definitely got wet. But we would always wrap them in this in like a trash bag, and then stuff them in our cases. So we got away with not ruining our instruments. We also brought like not the good ones.
Yeah. Well, I see Tyler, by the way, commented 3 banjo players. That explains the technical problems from the YouTube. Touche. Well,
just while we were on the topic of instruments, there's one that that was near and dear to my heart that I saw earlier. I got to scroll through. There's so many great questions and comments. Thank you guys so much for throwing that in there. This is from Cedar, who wants to know during Holloway Joe, why your drummer used paintbrushes instead of drumsticks. And I love that's where her mind went. Do you want to talk a little bit about that kind of percussion that you guys use in your band? Because I think it adds so much and it creates such a great dancing texture. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so Cedar, that's a great question. Yeah, our drummer's a painter. What can I say? He loves to paint. Now, he's got these things, they're called, well, they are drumsticks, technically. They're just called brushes. And instead of these full-on sticks that kind of make it hard and loud and a little piercing, he uses some brushes sometimes just to add a little bit of percussion or rhythm without being too like rock heavy. So we're a folk band, and we like drums, but we like it just kind of like tame drums, not like crazy hard rock drums. So we use brushes sometimes.
And one of the great things about percussion, this is for all you budding instrumentalists and songwriters out there, is you can make percussion sounds on your own body. You could use some sticks from outside, some rocks, some rice in a cup, and a lot of times that kind of stuff actually ends up on professional albums, believe it or not. So,
Well, Stan is here to tell us that he wants to rock and roll a bit more. So I don't know. Can we get to one more song, you think?
I think so. I think we have speaking of brothers, we have the song Brother lined up here next. Nice. And I'm kind of imagining where the inspiration came from, but anything you guys want to talk about this song?
Yeah, well, this river trip, this canoe trip was a long trip, We were spending a lot of time together, camping, and we don't usually live together. Some kids think we're roommates too, but we do tent together. When we're out there, we're with each other all day, every day, and that gets tough. You have to learn to deal with each other. So this song brings up some of our challenges, I guess. Says there's challenges and also beautiful things that we both bring to it.
All right. Well, this goes out to anybody with siblings out there.
Yeah.
The Okee Dokee Brothers, Brother, on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
1, 2, 3.
Since I can recall, we've had smooth sailing days and storms with waves. Times we fly, times like a captain knows his boat. We've seen blue skies together and cloudy weather. Times we sing, times we float. 'Cause under the surface the water runs deep and the current is strong. We can run out of steam by paddling upstream, or we can just let it roll us along. Let it roll, let it roll. Ah, brother, let's let it roll. Let it roll, let it roll. Come on, brother, let's let it roll. Let it roll, let it roll. Ah, brother, let's let it roll.
All right, the Okee Dokee Brothers with
Ooh.
Brother from their album Can You Canoe, which we've been revisiting today on the show.
So good.
So much fun.
Oh my gosh, that was just what an enjoyable hour of music, and I felt like I was going back on those adventures. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited for the warm weather that's coming, and camping season, and getting outdoors. Oh man,
No kidding. That'll be so nice to get out there and strum some guitars or banjos, I guess, if you have to, and sing with some loved ones, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, so much fun. And we're sorry we couldn't get to every single question on there, but I'm guessing that Justin and Joe can look back at this later on YouTube and maybe answer some of those questions. And if you missed any of the show today, or you want to share it with friends, you can do that. It will be up on YouTube at the same link. And also you can like it so that more folks will see it. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to know about future shows, because we do music like this every week. It's not always the Okee Dokee Brothers,
We're
but
not always this lucky.
there are often banjos. So if you
Yes.
like this kind of music,
we have a banjo bias here at the Back Catalog. Well, fellas, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day, for sharing your time and your talents and your wonderful music, and just so excited. Like so many comments we saw coming through the live chat. We're so excited to see you live again, and to be together and to dance. And until then, this is really the next best thing, and really appreciate your time.
Hey, we
Yeah.
appreciate your time. Thanks for hosting. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's
And-
super fun to listen back. I guess it's been a while since I've listened to some of that music. It's like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Sounds great.
yeah, you're not alone. That's one of the fun things about this show is artists don't often listen to their own music. They might play it live, but
I
getting
don't think
to
we've
hear
had
it.
one. We haven't had one artist that was like, "Oh, I listened to this again after
exactly.
I recorded it." No one does.
No one does, yeah. But we appreciate you all for being here with us to enjoy this show together. And we especially want to thank all the folks who make this show possible week to week. Our people who support the show via Patreon: Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Scott, and Sarah, and maybe you.
Maybe you.
And if you want to support the show, you can do that at that link, the Patreon link. And but mainly, just thank you for being here. We do this every week, so you can join us anytime or catch old shows on this YouTube channel. And again, it's such a treat to get to see folks like Justin and Joe and to share their music. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you so much.
Tony. Thanks, Ellen. Thanks for
guys.
everybody
Thanks,
tuning
Joe.
in.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for
See
being
you
here. Have a
later.
wonderful weekend. Take care.
cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.